Hello and welcome to this edition of Burgers and Fries. I know it has been a while since I have released a rant/podcast episode. I have been super busy in real life earning my commercial driver's license. So that is something that I've been doing. And now that I'm in that industry, it's going to be taking up a lot of time. So I really don't know when the next time I will have to record. So in the sake of making up for lost time and hopefully giving you some stuff to digest from our channel, please enjoy this huge podcast episode. With me, we have Mr. Pat. How you doing today, Pat?
Good.
And we also have the Minnesota man who is not a fan of the Minnesota governor. We have Thriller Wolf, a.k.a. Greg. How you doing?
Doing good.
Don't worry, we will definitely talk about him later. Now, we're going to be doing a lot of subjects in this whole episode. And we'll go with the political stuff first, and we'll do a lot of the entertainment stuff for the second half. So if you're not really a fan of the political stuff, if you don't care about the political stuff that's happened over the summer of 2024, then please click ahead to the timestamp that I have listed in the description, and you can listen to us talk about the movies like Twisters and Deadpool 3 and some releases that I'd want to be talking about. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, would you guys say we've had a very interesting summer of 2024 in the case of the political landscape?
Yes.
Yeah.
This has been one heck of a roller coaster ride. Some might even think it's just a stage show. It may as well be, because you cannot write a better script than what is going on in the summer of 2024 when it comes to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. You really can't.
I will just say that Biden can't speak worth a darn.
And that is what everybody somehow has figured out now. Too bad it wasn't 4 years ago when they figured this out. In fact, Greg, didn't you mention something about today, what it's the anniversary of?
The death of Robin Williams.
That is right. So the day of this recording is the 10-year anniversary of when Robin Williams passed on.
I think I recalled Robin Williams doing a bit about Obama and all the other candidates that were running in that election. And I think he did at one point bring up Biden.
We're going to play a little clip from that audio.
We still have comedy, though. We still have great comedy out there. There's always rambling Joe Biden. What the fuck? Joe says shit that even people with Tourette's go, no. No. What is going on? Joe is like your uncle who's on a new drug and hasn't got the dosage right. I'm proud to work with Barack America. He's not a superhero, you idiot. Come here.
Guy was at work.
When FDR was on television, there was no TV back then. Come here, Joe. Sit down.
Yep. No, even back then, a liberal diehard such as Robin Williams was even saying, why the fuck are we having Joe Biden as vice president? So there you go. Rest in power, Robin Williams. We still love you. Now, of course, this is what happened. Prior to this debate, Joe Biden was saying, oh, yeah, I've beat Donald Trump before. I beat him twice. I beat him in the election. Oh, yeah, anytime, any place. Let's do a debate. And you remember how everybody was thinking, oh, yeah, Joe Biden's going to wipe the floor with Donald Trump again. Remember all this?
Yep.
Yep.
The media talking heads were basically like, oh, yeah, this is the strongest Joe Biden that we've ever had. Meanwhile, those of us who've been paying attention the last 4 years, even during the election of 2020, were basically saying, dude, this is not who should be president. He can't speak a complete sentence. He is a weak leader. But the media was gaslighting and like, oh, no, he's great. He's been doing a great job for the country, whatever. So they thought that when they did this debate that, okay, we're going to have an even fair ground. We're not going to let Donald Trump interrupt Joe Biden. We're going to keep his mic muted when Joe Biden is speaking. That actually backfired, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because what was the biggest mistake that they did with this debate?
Let Trump speak?
No, having Joe Biden speak.
Yes.
Oh.
The 2020 debates, Donald Trump was constantly interrupting, so he really never gave a chance for Joe Biden to speak. So he really didn't allow people to see how shitty of a speaker Joe Biden was. And then when Joe Biden did, hey, can anybody shut this clown up? Come on, man. That was people saying, oh, yeah, right on, Joe Biden, fuck Trump. So this time, Donald Trump lets Joe Biden speak, or the media lets Joe Biden speak, and it's all over for Biden.
And as Trump would say, what did he say?
Oh, Trump was like, after one of his sentences, is like, I have no idea what Joe Biden just said, and I don't think Joe Biden knows what he said either.
Exactly.
In front of 50 million people.
And to the people that are now saying, Joe Biden is not fit to run, what took you so long?
Really? Exactly. I mean, after all, according to Joe Biden, they beat Medicare. How do you beat Medicare?
Maybe by raising the prices of health insurance.
Who really knows? But again, pretty much everyone who watched this debate was singing, oh yeah, Joe Biden, he completely shit the bed. And now, all of a sudden, he was too old to run for office again. Oh no, despite people right before the debate were saying this is the sharpest Joe Biden he's ever been.
Bullshit.
I mean, I'm glad more people caught on to it, but you're right, Greg. What took you so long?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, there are people who still kept holding on, and we know who those people are. It's not over. He can still be elected. He just had one bad debate. You know who those people are.
You mean the people like...
You don't need to say his name, but yeah. And then despite that, for the time being, Joe Biden was still proudly proclaiming, that he was not going to drop out and that he was going to win the election.
Bullshit.
Well, we'll get to the next thing that happened with Joe Biden, but the next thing that really happened in the story was an assassination attempt. Who had that on their 2024 bingo card?
I did. Bingo.
Well, I remember when I was at my parents' house that all of a sudden my mom told me to text my aunt because she supports Trump. And then when I looked at I was like, okay, what's going on? And I looked at the TV, I was like, whoa.
I talked to my dad about it, who lives in Missouri, and he even said that he was actually watching it live, or about as live as it could have been, and he was looking at it, and all of a sudden he sees Trump cover his ear, and he's like, oh my God, somebody just tried to shoot at him.
Yeah, and not to mention you got retarded liberals that were hoping for him to die from that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the more disgusting things that happened as a result of this attempt is you started really seeing these people's true colors. Well, would you guys say that this attempt was ultimately just a huge failure of the Secret Service?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, how the hell does some 20-year-old pimple-faced dipshit get 450 feet on top of a roof where everyone can see him?
Did they mention that he was a liberal or something?
There's people that are going to say, oh no, he was a registered Republican. That doesn't mean anything. I can be registered Republican and vote Democrat. I've done it before.
Really?
Of course. Then they say, oh, he donated to Democrat causes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he also had Google searched Democrat National Convention. It's very possible he was an anarchist, but we really don't know because he's fucking dead. At the end of the day, he attempted to kill a presidential nominee. Regardless of the political party, that's what he's going to go down in history for.
Mm-hmm.
There's photos that exist of the shooter on the roof before he did it. And audience goers were saying that they spotted the dude and they were warning Secret Service and the police. Like maybe they had sight of him, but then they weren't given the orders to take the shot until after the dude shot 5 bullets at Trump.
Mm-hmm.
This really could have been another JFK moment. And as you pointed out, Greg, it is pathetic how certain people just got totally unhinged that the shooter missed.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a week after Biden got into office. In my head, when I saw someone wearing a mask that says, I voted for Biden, I'll be honest, I did want to hurt him, but something just kicked in and says, you really do not want to do that.
There was the meme rolling around that says, if you are wearing a mask alone in your car while driving, you don't need to put up a Biden-Harris sticker. We already know who you're voting for.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who supported the masks were pretty much Biden supporters.
Yep. I can say this. I kind of went to a Trump rally once a couple of weeks ago.
And how was that?
Well, I can say this, that there were people of different races that were there. There are some of those that were Muslims as well as Chinese for Trump.
The funny thing about that is, yes, Muslims don't necessarily agree 100% on the stance of Israel or whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's been videos of people that have been like, They're protesting because they support gender-affirming care for minors, and then they try to get Muslims on their side, and then these Muslim people are like, no, we hate that too.
Mm-hmm.
Then Kyle Gass of Tenacious D was heard in Australia saying, don't miss Trump next time as a birthday wish. And this ultimately led to an intense backlash that caused Jack Black to split from Tenacious D, thus putting them on hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a movie about Tenacious D?
Yeah.
Oh, The Pick of Destiny?
Yeah, something like that.
No, I've never hated Tenacious D. I get that they're basically a comedy rock act, and so they are what they are. But after what Kyle Gass said, even if people agreed with what Kyle Gass said, there's just certain things that you don't say in public, especially in Australia or any countries that are in the Commonwealth that don't have the same freedom of speech protections that we do. He could have gotten in a lot of trouble because of where he said it in. There's people that are going to be like, oh, this is Hitler. No, this is more like Teddy Roosevelt surviving an assassination attempt. Teddy Roosevelt got shot in the chest while making a speech, recognized the bullet didn't strike any vital organs, and then he completed his speech and mocked the fact that he got shot.
So he survived it?
He survived it. He had already been president, and he was trying to become president again. He actually lost to Woodrow Wilson, I believe. And then there's the shades of the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt, where it was done by this guy by the name of John Hinckley Jr. He successfully shot him. He nearly killed him because he thought it would impress Jodie Foster.
The chick from Silence of the Lambs.
And yeah, in Contact. Jodie's been in great movies. I'll give her that. But no, I wouldn't really want to do anything to impress her. No, Jodie Foster is gay. She has a wife.
Huh.
So even if this was 1997, don't think you legitimately had the same chance Matthew McConaughey did. Just saying. So John Hinckley Jr., compared to Thomas Crooks, he got off easy. This guy's still alive and even releases his own music on YouTube if you want to look it up. Guys, who do you think is actually quoted prior to the assassination attempt and said, we need to get Trump under the bullseye? Who said that? That is right. Joe Biden said that. So yes, Joe Biden said that. Now we're going to talk about what happened at the Republican National Convention. There was a certain famous wrestler at the convention. Who was this guy?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Now, does Hulk Hogan have a small history of business with Donald Trump? Yes, because he performed at WrestleMania 4 and 5 that was held at Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. So the thing about Hulk Hogan is, yeah, he did give a good speech and he gave a good wrestling promo at the RNC to hype up the crowd. But if you are a wrestling fan like me, then you know how much of a known liar Hulk Hogan is. So he's not really the guy I want representing the Republicans if Republicans are trying to represent themselves as honest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to give you some of the claims that Hulk Hogan has said. Some of the stupidest lies that he said. Ready?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan has claimed to wrestle 400 days in a year. How many days are in a year, guys?
365 days.
So how do you wrestle 400 days in a year? He claims it was because he was traveling between Japan and the USA so many times it made it possible, but still it doesn't add up. Now, the other thing that he claimed is that he tried out for Metallica in 1986 after their bassist died. And then when he got called out about it, he backtracked and said, oh, I just tried calling, but I never heard back, brother. Now, again, 1986, he was WWF champion at the time. He was more popular in pop culture than Metallica was at the time. Why would he try out for Metallica? He also claimed that he was going to be the George Foreman grill before they went with George.
Oh, how would that even work? They would have to change the name from George Foreman Grill to the Hulk Hogan Grill.
He claimed they approached him first before they went with George Foreman. Like, again, he makes up stories. He is just as much of an acting politician as career politicians running our government. Mm-hmm. So maybe he does fit in with the political landscape. Who really knows? So now we're going to talk about Joe Biden dropping out of the race. What were your thoughts when this happened?
I was like,
good riddance, you old piece of crap. Don't let the door hit your old sagging butt on the way out.
That's right. Many people were saying, oh, he's too old. We've been saying that for 4 years. This dude could have dropped out anytime.
He should have been impeached.
Yeah, I'm sure there were plenty of his 81 million votes who were hoping he would resign or croak soon after he got elected so they can see Kamala as president because of that whole DEI bullshit they care so much about.
Someone told me she's a hooker.
Oh, that is a running gag. And then remember, right before the announcement, he was definitely saying in front of everybody that he wasn't going to drop out. And then 3 days later, he addressed the nation on camera saying that he needed to unite the party and that nothing should come in the way of saving democracy, including political and personal ambition.
Ooh.
Translation?
Yeah.
He was forced out.
And also translation, every time they keep saying democracy, what they really mean is hypocrisy.
Yes.
His campaign and his political party pretty much saw the writing on the wall. Everything they threw at Donald Trump has not swayed the poll numbers, and the assassination attempt only improved his numbers. So you have the president with the lowest approval rating in history, who has an opponent who has all these federal indictment charges, who also got convicted, and he's still trailing behind him. You have to be that bad at your job if you're trailing behind a convicted felon.
Yeah. Wasn't President Nixon the similar way as Trump was?
Nixon was president when he was caught doing his Watergate scandal thing. And then, he resigned because he knew he was going to get impeached.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
And yeah, you're right. We were pretty much like, yep, bye-bye, Joe. You didn't really do much for this country anyway. In fact, you probably made it worse.
Yeah, all he ever did was make things worse.
Then, of course, who got named as the nominee?
Kamala
Harris.
The least popular vice president in history. That's who you want to be president?
And if I can say this, her vice president is the fat ass from Minnesota.
Oh, we're going to get to that part too. Did people vote to make her the nominee?
Hell no.
Nobody voted to make her a primary. She was not voted by people. It was just a bunch of delegates in some virtual roll call. And just like that, she's the one that's been installed.
And
I think Sleepy Joe could have very well appointed her to be next in line.
I don't even think Joe Biden knew he was dropping out when the letter came out.
The only women that like her are these woke white women.
Their brain is the size of Mark Hamill's. Basically none.
Yep.
I mean, look, at least Joe Biden was voted by the Democrat voters in the 2020 primaries. Kamala, nowhere to be found in the 2020 primaries, especially because she also got demolished by Tulsi Gabbard in one of the primary debates. And then the funny thing is that they've been calling Donald Trump the direct threat to democracy. And yet when it came to her being installed without a single voter casting their ballot, that's 100% opposite of what democracy is.
Mm-hmm. In other words, they say they want democracy, but they really mean is hypocrisy.
Pretty much. And then, of course, Kamala Harris going, oh, when I get elected, I'll take price gouging. I'll bring down the costs. Why can't you do it now?
Exactly.
It's not like she's not vice president or anything.
Indeed.
She's just as insufferable, if not worse, than Joe Biden was.
And as I do recall from some of our rallies, there are people who are just walking out there.
I have heard that they are publishing AI-generated photos and passing them off as legit photos of people at her rallies. And you can clearly see there's somebody in the photo with 3 arms.
I gotta make sure to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, so I can't confirm or deny it. So guys, let's listen to Kamala for a little bit. Let's have Kamala sell us on why we should vote for it.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
There are those who are unable to see what can be, but there are many more who are able to see what can be unburdened by what has been.
Remember Venn diagrams, those 3 circles? Right. And then let's just see where they overlap. You will not be surprised because I have constructed a Venn diagram on this. Remember those 3 circles, how they overlap? I love Venn diagrams, so I just do. Whenever you're dealing with conflict, pull out a Venn diagram, right? And so, the 3 circles.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are
And
she
of
and her.
course she's
I'm
got
a
a
woman
mask.
sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
And
What the fuck?
what was that thing that
Why she got a mask on?
And,
COVID's over.
I don't know.
Been over.
And what was that thing that what was it supposed to be called as the border Kamal, whatever it is?
The border czar. They're acting like their immigration policies weren't huge failures. Millions of people crossing the border illegally, and then her going on camera going, "Do not come to our border."
Do they want them in? Do they want them out? I mean, it's just confusing with these people.
There's also been the thing that when she was California Attorney General, she was criticized repeatedly for fighting to keep people, including innocent people or nonviolent criminals, in prison longer, effectively extending their sentences and forcing them to do free labor. Gee, I wonder what that's called when you force somebody to do free labor.
Jail time?
Slavery.
Oh.
Yep.
And
These were nonviolent criminals who just got caught with marijuana, but she needed to keep them in prison longer.
But she let the rapists and domestic abusers out of prison during 2020.
Oh yes, we're gonna talk about that too. I know you want to get to Tim Walz. Don't worry, we're almost there, buddy. We're almost there. And again, according to the American Prospect, she spent years subverting a Supreme Court ruling requiring the state to reduce its prison population. So the U.S. Supreme Court is telling California, reduce your prison population, and she kept adding more people and extending their sentences. So Kamala did more to put black men in prison than she did as vice president. So why would the black man want to vote for this woman?
Because she's a black woman. Oh, wait a minute.
I doubt that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They claim that she's black now, but isn't she Jamaican and Indian?
Yes. And as I do recall, I think she was actually born in Canada.
Wait, if she's born in Canada, she can't be fucking president. She wasn't born in Canada. She was raised in Canada.
You gotta remember that we had Obama as president. He wasn't born in America.
He was born in Hawaii. He was definitely born in America. You have the media now gaslighting that, oh, now that she's a nominee, right on cue, the media is portraying her as the woman in shining armor that's going to protect democracy. These are the same people who just said that Joe Biden was sharp and engaged, and it was the best version of Joe Biden, and then we all know what happened there. And now you have the media claiming Donald Trump is afraid of debating Kamala. Really? Yeah. The guy who raised his fist in the face of his ear getting shot by a gun mere inches away from death. That guy is afraid of debating cackling Kamala Harris? What are these people smoking?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way Trump's going to back down from a fight like that.
No. And again, Kamala is just as insufferable as Joe Biden was, as you point out. She constantly cackles and laughs like a goddamn hyena that's already 3 wine glasses deep by 3 p.m. So
yeah. Go home, Kamala. You're drunk.
That's how she acts. That's how
Please
she speaks.
Go home.
Oh yeah,
Please go home.
Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia's a big country. Ukraine's a small country. Big countries can't invade small countries. Really? We invaded Iraq. We've invaded small countries.
Yeah, I think we even invaded Afghanistan.
Yeah. U.S. has been doing plenty of invasions in the past 20 years. So by that logic, yeah, come on, Kamala. Anyway, yeah, could Kamala win? Of course she can, because we know how easy people are manipulated by the media. I mean, just listen to some people that have been panelists on this podcast, and you know how easily manipulated they are.
And, well, I wouldn't be so sure that she's going to get the black vote, because there are black people who are saying that we're not voting for this bitch.
Oh, tons of Democrats hate this woman. She is not that popular of a person among the Democrat voters. Yeah, there's definitely the vote blue no matter who, but no, I do not see her being that popular of a candidate, at least not as popular as Trump. But again, speaking of Kamala Harris, let's talk about Tim Walz. Your governor, Greg. Oh, what do you want to say about this guy?
All I can say is that guy is number board, but a big fat ass pussy.
What do you really think about him?
He just makes things worse for Minnesota.
Okay, so let's just go over some of the things that Walz believes in. So he believes in transgender surgeries for 13-year-olds and under. Yeah. You want to be a transgender as an adult? Go right ahead. But no, you should not be having surgeries when you're a fucking kid. No. That will ruin their life.
Indeed.
Anyway, abortion up to 9 months. Oh, so late-term abortions he's okay with.
Oh, that's just... That.
Yes, if it's one of those things where if the baby is affecting the woman's health or if the baby itself is going to die soon, like, okay, that's different. But abortion as a means of birth control at 9 months where you're basically killing the baby, no, don't necessarily think that's okay. Greg, you lived in Minnesota during COVID lockdowns. How do you think he handled that?
Terribly. When everyone's being locked down, I was going to go crazy.
Is it true that he had a hotline set up during lockdown so you could snitch on your neighbors for violating orders, like having family over for the holidays?
Yes.
We have a Minnesota resident right here saying that, folks, for the record. And other sources have confirmed that. So how is his response handling the George Floyd protests?
Terrible, especially when, well, he and the bitch releases prisoners that were destroying properties and all that. That's
right. Kamala Harris is also someone who tweeted and said, hey, here's the Minnesota Freedom Fund. And they didn't just bail out protesters, they bailed out murderers and rapists.
Jeez, I thought feminists were supposed to be against all those things.
Exactly. So, yeah, very fitting. So Donald Trump is now going up against the people who supported the fucking riots and supported burning down your fucking cities and bailing out the people who did it. That's who you want to vote for? You vote blue no matter who crowd?
I guess they just want to be in La La Land all the time.
Well, La La Land's expensive. I would not want to move to LA.
This country's going to hell.
Yeah, and again, why did Tim Walz have a very slow response time? Like, why did he wait several days to call in the National Guard to quell the riots? Why was that, Greg?
Yeah, because I guess he didn't want to be called racist or something.
He claimed to be sympathetic to their cause. Oh, it's okay. You can keep burning this stuff down. I agree with what you guys say. Like, your fucking people are getting hurt and businesses are getting shut down and burned to the ground. And you're okay with that. Greg, how long have you lived in Minnesota?
About 35 years now.
So basically all your life. Was it by and large a low crime state? Like, was it pretty peaceful for a long time?
Yeah.
The crime was lower than the national average. Now it's above the national average. What has Tim Walz been nicknamed?
Minnesota Marxist.
The Minnesota Marxist.
Yep.
Close enough.
Supposedly under this leadership, this guy's been spending a lot more on K-12 schools. Now, one would think if you're spending a lot more on education, then wouldn't their proficiency scores improve too?
Yeah.
You would think.
But what has actually happened?
It's gotten lower.
Yes. So there's people in Minnesota that are grade school age that can't read or do math. Minnesota used to be much more prosperous until recently. Their per capita GDP went below the national average because, again, you have high taxes. Your state is crazy spending on stuff and you have more regulations. And it's just not a very business-friendly state. Would you agree with that, Greg?
Yeah.
So based on Tim Walz's Minnesota record, based on Kamala Harris' record in California, based on Kamala Harris' record as vice president, I would not want these two people anywhere near presidency. And I don't understand who would.
Probably the liberals are Marxists and socialists.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, no, that wasn't real socialism that was tried in those other countries. Yeah, but every fucking time they've tried implementing those policies in those other countries, what has it led to? Big government taking over everything and then leading to people starving and dying. Oh, but we're all equal now. Yeah, you're all equally worthless.
Yep.
So that will do it for our political section. I hope you've enjoyed that part. But let's have some fun now. Let's talk about some major movie and show releases that I've been wanting to talk about. So, you guys up for this?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're going to start with Twisters. Did you guys see it?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it once.
Same, but what'd you think of it?
I liked it.
It was great.
It was a good movie. Yeah, it's basically the same kind of movie that the 1996 movie was. It's a popcorn flick.
Mhm.
And it's not a movie that you watch for the story and the character development. You watch it because you want to see tornadoes rip open buildings and fling cows everywhere, right?
Well,
Yeah.
except for when it has chickens.
Well, spoiler alert, they're not flinging any cows this time. But they do fling a lot of people.
As you recall, there are people that got really mad at the director because he won't mention about global warming in the movie.
And that actually was one of the movie's strengths because they didn't do a whole lecture on climate change and global warming.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tyler Owens. I thought he was just as great as Bill Paxton.
You know, Tyler was an entertaining character, but Bill Paxton is the shit, man. He made Twister.
That's why I said just as great as Bill Paxton, but Bill Paxton will always be better. But Tyler Owens, I think, was probably a very funny yet great character.
Absolutely. And the female lead, you can see the Helen Hunt in her. In fact, there's some Easter eggs from the first movie, and she's actually wearing the same outfit that Helen Hunt was wearing during one of the tornado scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have thought of that.
And then the other downside is, I mean, it had a soundtrack, but no Van Halen this time. I remember watching the first Twister when that song by Van Halen came on. I actually started rocking out when that scene happened, but nothing like that in this movie. Yeah, you got the country music in there, you got the popular music of the day, but man, Van Halen just hits hard in Twister.
An interesting fact I just read online that in this movie Twisters, Bill Paxton's son actually has a cameo. He's like the disgruntled, angry customer at the hotel when the tornado goes by.
That part was hilarious. It's like, you don't have any AC on, everything is damaged. Like, there's a fucking tornado out there. No, there's no tornado. And then he gets sucked up.
Yep.
He tried. That was great.
Honestly,
yeah, I think his father would have been very proud knowing that his son got to be in the movie.
Honestly, I didn't know that was his son.
Neither did I.
Well, I didn't know at the time till I got home and looked it up.
Yeah, same here. But I did like that this movie was basically apolitical. There's no lecture on science or global warming. In fact, even the main female lead, she actually starts to side and work with the amateur redneck everyman crowd instead of the corporate government team.
Indeed.
I actually thought it was going to be interesting at first. Oh, it's going to be in reverse. So it's going to be on the corporate side like the bad guy from the first movie was. And then, nope, it actually became more like the first movie, which was fine. One of my intellectual colleagues at work, who is a tornado chaser, has said that this movie is more accurate scientifically, but yeah, it is still pretty much a popcorn flick. And because this movie pretty much
chases tornadoes,
I do have a colleague that chases tornadoes. Yes.
Well, I just hope he's careful when he goes up against a tornado. Wouldn't want him to get sucked.
And she's definitely careful about it.
Yeah.
Yes. But and again, the movie pretty much caters to middle America like the first movie. And guess what it does? It makes bank.
Yep.
$81 million opening weekend. It did way better than I thought it would do in the box office. And it actually has the highest opening weekend for a natural disaster film ever.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that used to break the record was Day After Tomorrow. And you know how much of a global warming preacher fest that movie was.
I see. And
I might have to see it again.
Oh, I will watch it again. It's definitely worth watching again. So, okay, let's talk about another movie that didn't do so well at the box office, Borderlands.
Now, I didn't know that movie was based on a video game.
Not a lot of people did. In fact, the video game fell off in popularity. I remember 10 years ago when everybody was like, yeah, Borderlands is the shit. In fact, you had to get an Xbox so you can play it. I remember seeing the trailer for this, and I think, I don't really want to see this. I remember seeing the trailer come up before watching Deadpool 3, and everybody in the theater was like, what the hell is this? For every good video game movie and TV show, like we've had Super Mario and Sonic that was really good. The Last of Us was really good. Fallout was really good. So Borderlands just reminded that they can still make shitty releases for video game movies. And maybe they just picked the wrong one.
Borderlands.
So what did you think of it?
Honestly,
it was okay. I mean, I wouldn't call it my favorite though.
No, not even close to what Super Mario and Sonic is.
And as I do recall that, the actresses were not fit for some of the roles and all that.
No, they're too old. Like, do you really think Jamie Lee Curtis is a convincing action star now? No.
Oh, did you see her big tatas?
There was a time 30 to 40 years ago when she stripped in True Lies in front of Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was when you wanted to see her tatas, not now.
Indeed.
Yeah. Maybe she gets it deflated by the time she gets home, like a balloon. Like.
And was there, Pat, was there by any chance a feminist message in that movie?
You know, not that I recalled. I was just kind of watching it for what it was. Although that one guy behind the mask kind of reminded me of Drax from Guardians. So I kept calling him Light Drax.
I think that's what they were trying to market this as. Like, oh, if you like the Guardians movies, well, here's another movie like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyway, you didn't think it was that great. It wasn't the next movie that we're going to be talking about. But the thing is, this movie also came out at the same time as Deadpool 3 being in the theater. So, you know, if I went to the theater and I had a choice between seeing Deadpool 3 a second or third time versus Borderlands, what do you think I would pick?
Deadpool.
Exactly. Well, we're going to be now talking about one movie you definitely want to be talking about, and that's Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh my God, It was a fucking blast.
Was a blast. I mean, granted, it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be, but you know something? I kind of went in not expecting much.
I never expect much with anything Marvel does nowadays. I want to be amazed, and this one definitely set the bar high. Like, oh, they actually can make fun superhero movies again.
Well, see, I made the mistake of expecting a lot when I went and saw Multiverse of Madness, and boy, was that a big mistake of my life I would never swore I'd never make again.
What I like is that this movie does break the fourth wall and is kind of acknowledging that the MCU is in the shitter.
Indeed.
Yes, that was funny and true.
And you got Gen Zs that are saying that, oh, this movie is offensive to gay people and all that.
Because there weren't enough gay jokes in it?
More like they wanted the gay jokes out of there.
One thing about that opening is because of that opening credit sequence, now NSYNC's Bye 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 is stuck in my head.
Yeah. And I grew up with that song.
I didn't like that song growing up, but now I do. I was not a fan of that group when I was growing up. I grew up when they were at their most popular, when every teenage girl my age was going gaga over them, who knew all their band members, who knew all the names of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and 98 Degrees.
They even guest spotted on Kim Possible.
Who knows? But anyway, what I'm saying is, at the time that song came out, I did not like NSYNC. Now, that song being in Deadpool 3, it was fucking great. It was the best use of that song ever.
I actually do like the song even before the movie came out.
You're allowed to like the song. I'm explaining why I didn't like the song, but now I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just nice getting to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine.
And
the end credits were a great send-off to like all of the accomplishments that he's had as Wolverine.
And I think he's even coming back for Secret Wars.
I heard the same thing with the 3 actors of Spider-Man and all that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And then, of course, who also got brought back to be in the MCU, none other than Robert Downey Jr., but now he's Dr. Doom.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And apparently he's not going to be just any Doctor Doom. He's going to be like a Tony Stark version of Doctor Doom. I know it's probably going to peeve off a lot of people, but honestly, I don't mind, especially since I was let down by Quantumania and the way they handle Kang the Conqueror. So honestly, I could care less whether they write Kang out or not.
Well, the person who played Kang shouldn't have been beating up his wife.
Some people think he didn't do it, but I don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't really say.
I wasn't there either, but if he's out as the overarching villain and they had to bring back someone that we thought was going to retire, you know he done fucked up.
Yeah, I just wish I could just go back in time and convince Marvel not to hire Jonathan Majors.
No, tell him, don't beat up your fucking wife.
Yeah, or that.
If he didn't do any of that, he'd be the overarching villain, and we'd have Kang the Conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so going back to Deadpool 3, what did you think about all the cameos from Elektra and Blade and Channing Tatum as a Gambit?
They were great, but I was kind of expecting them to like maybe bring in more cameos. Like I would have loved to have seen Sir Ian McKellen back as Magneto and Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X and Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, especially after that Marvel's post-credit scene. I would have loved to have seen him and Monica Rambeau and Binary.
Yeah, I can see that too, but I think what we did get, what was still is a love letter to the Marvel films that were released under Sony before Disney, like kind of like acknowledging that they kind of paved the way before Marvel became what it became after Disney.
Don't you mean Fox?
Okay, yes. Marvel became what it became with Fox before that took over. It was Sony that had Spider-Man, but not the other characters.
I was going to say, they could have also brought back the other members of the Fantastic Four, like Jessica Alba, Ian Grufford, and whoever played Ben Grimm the Thing, and the original Victor Von Doom, Ben Affleck as Daredevil. Maybe
that would have been hilarious if we had Ben Affleck in as Daredevil, because remember who he also plays in the DC universe.
Oh yeah,
he's Batman. So imagine Ryan Reynolds acknowledging Ben Affleck as Batman, and as if he comes in as a Daredevil. And then it was hilarious when you had Chris Evans going in there, and you're thinking he's going to be Captain America, and he turned out he's the Human Torch.
Oh, my theater on opening night, we were clapping and going, "Hell yeah!" It was the best moment I'll never forget as long as I live.
He was also one of the best parts of the movie, and then just what he was saying, and then the post credit scene. We're like, "See, I had him on camera saying all that stuff."
Yes, and there was just so many other cameos I really wish they had brought in, but that's not what we got.
That's okay. They did Deadpool 3 was a fucking blast. It showed us they can still make really, really good superhero movies, and it was probably the highest grossing film that's rated R of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, but what I find really stupid is, like, as of late, twice I've noticed that I've seen some parents bring little kids or even a baby to see this movie.
Yes, I couldn't believe that. These parents were bringing their kids to see Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, no, why are you bringing them here? Go take them to Twister. Go take them to Inside Out 2.
But see, the problem is, like, you could go to a manager and report all this, but my theater's manager won't even do a goddamn thing.
Oh, they don't care. They're getting the money, and they're also getting the money from the concession stands.
With their own fucking cowardice. I'm like, is this what the future is going to be like going forward when going to see movies? Parents are just going to bring their little tots or babies to a movie, even if it's not appropriate for them?
Oh, no, it's going to be bad when it's going to be an NC-17 movie. In other words, you cannot be under 17 inside that theater, and all of a sudden I see a 12-year-old in there. Then you know it's going to be bad. Can you imagine all of a sudden I see little boys at a screening of Showgirls?
That'll be the day.
No. Anyway, anything else you want to say about Deadpool 3 before we move on?
Nope.
Yeah, it's just an awesome movie. Probably one of my new favorite MCU movies.
Yeah, finally a good one after all these years.
I mean, it could have been a lot more bigger, but I'm fine with what it is.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of season 6?
It was really great. I really even felt sorry for Tori Nichols. I mean, if I had lost my mom today, or I would probably be in the same position as her. I wouldn't know where to turn.
No, and they addressed that pretty good. Like Johnny's saying, no, she's trying to fight through it. She's working her issues out. And Daniel's like, no, I gotta protect. Like, they're both right, but of course you see how the story goes. So we still have 10 more episodes left. Like, they're releasing it in parts, and I think that's partly to do because of the writer's strike.
I kind of figured it had to do with the strikes.
They film parts of the episodes before the writer's strike, and then they film parts of the episodes after the strike.
I think the only complaint I have with part 1 would have to be they kind of wasted Stingray. I was kind of hoping Terry Silver would show up in the Saikai Taikai, but I guess they're saving those best parts for either part 2 or 3.
I'm also waiting for Hilary Swank's character to make an appearance.
Yeah, I mean, that would be wonderful, but I think because she was pregnant during the filming of this season, something tells me we may not be seeing her after all.
We shall find out, but that would be something to look forward to.
And I'm also hoping Mike Barnes comes back, and I'm also hoping Chosen.
Yeah, Chosen has to come back. Mike Barnes, we could definitely like to see him come back a couple more times. I loved what he did when he was helping select the candidates.
And seeing him getting aggressive again just kind of brought back memories of what he was in Karate Kid 3.
That's right.
And it was great getting to see him go up against Johnny Lawrence. I mean, that was one of the best highlights of part 1.
Yeah, there's still lots to look forward to. People are saying, oh no, this is the lowest rated season of Cobra Kai. I'm like, it's still rated pretty damn high.
They're complaining that this is one of the worst seasons of the show.
It's not even complete yet.
Yeah, have you not seen some of the bad seasons that Simpsons or Family Guy had?
Have they not seen The Acolytes?
I mean, I haven't, but I'm sure it's terrible.
Oh, it is. I've seen it. I've done some videos on it, as you know.
There was some ongoing theory about how Kreese may be responsible for Tori's mom's death, which I don't think I'm buying because I don't know. I don't think there's any evidence that suggests that he killed her mom. And this kind of brings another interesting question is with a wanted man like Kreese on the run, how is he able to get from Korea to America to Spain without being noticed by the police or the U.S. Marshals?
It's very possible that he flew private. He didn't fly commercial.
Yeah, even Tori addressed that Kreese as a wanted man and that he's lucky she didn't call the police on him or something.
So, no, we're going to find, I'm sure there's going to be more details we're going to find out. Maybe they'll do some more flashbacks in the next part before we fully get to the Sekai Tekai tournament. But yeah, I'm really hoping that Robbie wins his bout, and I can go either way. But yeah, it's like you're rooting for either one. You're rooting for Sam, but then you're also rooting for Tori.
I'm rooting for Sam, and I'm also rooting for Miguel.
Okay. No, I can see that. I can see that too. But Robbie has always lost. He's always been in second place. So you want to see Robbie win in the end.
What about the end of season 1 when he did beat Miguel? Oh, wait, no, he didn't. Did he?
He didn't. Now, Miguel did beat him because Robbie's shoulder was hurt, and Miguel was fighting dirty, and he was attacking the injured shoulder.
Yeah.
But then Robbie did beat Miguel fair and square.
Yeah, I'm just remembering he never did win anything. So yeah, I think Robbie should.
No, and then that next competition, remember, it was Hawk who beat Robbie.
Yeah.
So maybe now, do you think that Kenny is going to show up for Cobra Kai too because of what Anthony LaRusso did?
No, that was Devin. Devin was the one that.
You think Devin spiked his drink?
Yes. And Kenny was blaming Anthony, so I think that was kind of the last straw for Kenny. He's gonna going forward think it was all Anthony's fault, and I think Kenny and Sean Payne are going to, I don't know, maybe they'll join Cobra Kai.
They revealed 3 contestants for Cobra Kai, and then Tori came out as the cliffhanger, but they haven't revealed the 2 more. So Kenny could come back.
Yeah.
Because that was his way of getting into the Sekai Tekai.
Yep.
And they might have somebody else, but we shall see. But
honestly,
I enjoyed it.
Honestly,
I'll be excited for the next part. Absolutely.
I'm hoping to. Last thing I'll say is I'm hoping we see Kreese fight Terry Silver. That's a fight I would love to see, you know?
You think Kreese is going to do one last face turn at the end, but then maybe he turns on Terry Silver, but then the very, very final fight is going to be Johnny versus Kreese.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people have said this, that Kreese is going to die a hero. He's going to make the sacrifice play. And then, I don't know, either Master Kim Dae-yoon or Terry Silver's the one who delivers the final blow to Kreese.
Well, all of that is we're going to find out more and more in November for part 2, and then part 3 is going to come back after that.
Yep.
So that will do it for our talk about Cobra Kai season 6. And you know what, folks? We have been talking a lot. We've talked over some movies. We've talked about politics. Are we ready to close the diner after all this time? Or is there anything else that you guys would like to bring up?
Well, I kind of heard the new trailer for the Snow White remake is terrible.
Oh, I hated every minute of it.
Oh, please do tell.
Well, it's hard to say because, I did not see the CGI dwarves. Terrible.
Yeah, I just feel like this is just disrespecting the legacy of the late Walt Disney. I mean, this movie is basically like the final nail in his coffin. He's definitely turning over in his grave.
Well,
how very fitting it was going to be the Snow White movie in 1930s that put Disney on the map, and then it's going to be a live action remake of Snow White that's going to completely destroy Disney.
Yeah.
How very fitting.
I recall Rachel Zegler, who will be playing Snow White. She went on bad-mouthing everything about the original 1939 or 1929, whenever the original Snow White came out, about how bad it is, how outdated it is.
Oh, she got in a whole lot of trouble and got a lot of backlash over that stuff. And I know when the new Snow White movie does eventually come out, I know I'll be watching it. And I know I will most likely have to do a rant on it.
I'm not. I'm going to probably just stay home or watch another movie in the theater.
I know her last name is Ortega or something. She did bash Rachel Zegler and all that.
Jenna Ortega, yep.
As well as political correctness that's going on with the entertainment industry.
You go, girl.
I clap her for that. Clap, 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 clap.
Well, all right. So that is going to do it. So we've talked about a lot. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this entire thing from start to finish. Even if you just listen to it in parts, that's okay by me. But with that said, the diner is closed. I hope I can record another time soon, but because of my next job going to be requiring me to travel a lot, we shall see when I can do it. I'm Desert Coyote 22. Thanks for listening.